Granny died. They made dessert for her. Auntie Seven prepared the dough. She squeezed the white apple balls and opened up any spurting excess dough. She gently laid them into the hot oil in rings. I found a big yellow, ground, and matured and faded piece of glass. As big as my big dirty palms, I put it in front of my eyes and looked at the world through it. From now on, everything will be like this, I said. Grocer Uncle Ibrahim will be like this. The broken lemon crates in front of his shop, like this. Sister Neriman's legs and the laundry she hangs out, like this. I painted the world yellow. If they begged me on their knees, I might give up on this passion of mine. My piece of glass is bigger than my 2 palms. The central house is finished. They built it after pulling down the house at the end of the street. My mother and father have been laughing at it for days. We wonder who will be the first to move in. We will have neighbors, like well-fed lamps, says my father. They wrote on the big iron gate with shining letters, Central House, 1980. When he was putting ice in his raki on the balcony, my father said God ought to make you laugh. 2 drops from the glass fell on the plastic cover of the table. I touched them and sucked at my fingers when no one was looking. My mother poured the tomato sauce on the fried eggplants inside. Their smell filled me. The Ford on the street. Its mirrors are broken. The rear window has cracked in waves. Brother Senihi's hat is on the shift stick. His blanket is on the back seat. Under the seat is Brother Senihi. He sleeps without bothering anyone. On Ramadan, 2 pitas for Brother Senihi every day. My mother says, be careful not to mix up the bowls. In front of the bakery is like hell. Fair boys from up street come down. Dog pack. It is just short work for him to bully their way to the front of the line. You snooze, you lose your turn. It's no use to object afterwards. His uncle's son. His aunt's son. Someone else's someone else. They come in bunches and fuck you up. On the way back, I leave 2 pitas for Brother Senihi. 1 open, 1 closed. Poor him, mother says. He should taste all. He raises his blanket. Take care, he says. Put it on the front seat on the paper. I don't want any stains. Brother Senihi. He lives in the tired Ford. He rolls down the windows and airs his home from time to time. I climbed up a cypress tree across the road. 5th branch. Agree darker than dark. If I want, I won't climb down till everyone dies. I won't care even if it is the doomsday down and high school girls break their heels and movie posters date. And no one will notice me. But Mitten came. He climbed on the branch next to me, not heeding me. One should have some understanding. He cleaned his nose on his sleeve and settled down. Take these, and you smoke too. He wants to share the butts he has found, the bastard. Come on, you must be troubled. I should get hold of him and toss him down. Bastard. He says he also knows the pain of love. He knows my ass. But he took out a half pack of Kent. Wonder where he found it. I gave up the plan and beat him up. The smoke, would waft to Zehra's house, if I want, and scare the shit out of that sore puss. I hope it does. I hope she runs away and I won't ever see her again. Mitten, I'll slap you on the asphalt, Your fingers are so filthy. My weekly allowance is $10 now. Current copies of children's magazines cost $7.50. Fuck! They are $1 in the second-hand store across school, but they are worn. But they buy comics, a Texas and a Mandrake, every fortnight for the son of the bank manager who moved upstairs. He said so. You can come over and read. Fuck your sissy magazines. I'm going to the 6th grade with this good-for-nothing. Even the bastard's pencil sharpener's medal. But during the weekly street meeting, he didn't know what to make of jerking Bagurgan. He leaned over and asked, "What the hell does that mean? Is that a vegetable? Wouldn't some other veggie do? You bastard. This is not like getting an A in algebra." Then we ran to the empty lot and played nails, because it had rained the day before. Shoot, draw, shoot, draw. I don't have any idea why, but a pointless fight started. At the end, I couldn't stand anymore and woke Brother Senihi up. "Brother Senihi, you tell which is prettier, US or Russia?" Brother Senihi pointed with his finger from the back seat at the balcony. "Why, Narmin is the prettiest." Ooh, we all went and cheered for Sister Narmin. She looked at her laundry and then at us, astonished. When her mother came out of the kitchen and threw her clog at us, we of course scattered. But this guy, wouldn't he put his hands on his breast and say, "Narmin is the prettiest"? I slapped his neck. "Shame on you. She is from our neighborhood." He shut up, of course. He came to the center of the street, looked around, couldn't see anyone. He was holding the bucket from the stove, and irritating smoke was coming from the ash. I was feeling it, even behind the glass, the curtain. He couldn't reach the barrel because of the piled garbage. He emptied the bucket over the trash heap. Then he turned to our window and shouted, "They simply spoil them. Yes, sir. What on earth is a strike? Why on earth would sanitation workers strike?" He turned around and left. This man frightens me so much. He looks at Dad and me cross. I was buying the newspaper from the grocer's the other day. He stopped me, took the newspaper from me, looked at it. Then said to Uncle Abraham, "So they buy Democrat, eh?" Of course I didn't tell Dad. When playing hide and seek at night, 5 friends. We went right ahead and took a dump on his doormat. That's some of the banker. I appreciate him more each day. He even needed to pee, but did not back out. The door rang next morning. Dad was going to work. I was struggling with my collar's button. It was Uncle Abraham. There was an old auntie with him. "I am Senihi's elder sister, son," she said. She had been looking for Senihi for 5 years. "I want to take him with me. He can live with me. I have no one left. He will go to waste on streets." She took out a big man's handkerchief with blue lines on the corners and cried. While sniffing, she took out a piece of candy from the pocket of her coat and gave it to me, an old and brown candy. But they said Brother Senihi didn't even take his nose out of the window. "Sister, go away," he said, and snuggled in his blanket. We all got off. My mother called from the balcony, "Sehun, you go to school at once." Okay, I said, and waved to her. When I was turning the corner, I could still hear her. I looked at Dad. He waved his hand, saying, "Never mind." Brother Senihi was cleaning the windows of the Ford. When he saw us, he went inside and buried himself in his blanket. "My son," said Dad, "you see, winter is coming. Last year I took you to our basement, but this year the landowner is complaining. Come on, have pity on us and yourself." Auntie took out her handkerchief again. I silently stayed close to Dad, hoping for more candy. "Senihi, they gave the lot over to a developer," said Uncle Abraham. "They will toss both the car and you into the garbage field, to the shovel." Brother Senihi rolled down the window. "Don't say so. Don't lie, you godless grocer." That week, my father rang every door and collected money. Mom and friends organized a sale at the garden of the community center. They took Brother Senihi to a bathhouse, bought a new blanket for him, and dressed him like a groom, with the money they made. With the rest, they rented a truck. We all put our hands together and moved the car onto a truck bed. Brother Senihi sat at the driver's seat of the Ford. He waved at us. We saw him off to the sister's backyard. Even Sister Namin cried. She wiped her eyes with a handkerchief she took out of her delicate. Then she folded it again and put it back in. But the last button remained undone. It was the first time Daddy didn't come home. I opened my notebooks and smoothed the dog-eared pages. I look at Mom. Mom looks at the window. She raises the curtain and looks into the dark, and bites her nails. Then she said, I will make a phone call from the neighbors. She got up from the table. There were only me and eggs with spinach in the pan, the whites of them like a dead seagull. I felt a little bit sick. Actually, he liked to eat it all with red pepper. Dad ate the largest bites and wiped his mustache with hand clove. Mom returned. Dad will come early in the morning. He is busy. But Dad normally came early in the evenings. Someone touched my forehead. I opened my eyes. Mom, with a glass of milk. I forgot my homework, I said. Don't worry, no school today. Why not? Just because. Is it a holiday? Sort of. Our neighbor Auntie Seven came. They talked with Mom in the kitchen. Maybe the soldiers will be better. Don't you get scared. God is great. You have a son. Think of him. I didn't go out. It wasn't like a holiday. Mom didn't let me go. But nobody went out anyway. I watched the street from the window. There was only cats out there. Dad didn't come that day. It had been 10 days. Dad didn't come. Sometimes Mom cries at night. Then Auntie Seven comes over. I didn't know that walls could scream. I have never seen them get red and sizzle like the wires of the electric heater and fell off in lines. Someone with a black jacket and muddy shoes was pushing Mom's shoulders down. He hit her on her neck with a handcuff. He took out his back pocket. Shut up, you bitch! How many people came in? The wireless on the table toppled the milk bottle. Grim men running around, taking photos. Someone grabbed me by the shoulders and dragged me to the back room. At that moment, 2 men knocked the library shelves over. They crouched and started looking through the book piles. Sit down. I collapsed on the sofa. I had to cry, but I saw my right hand shivering. My fingers were about to break, like dry leaves. Someone with a necktie came in. He kneeled in front of me. Are you scared? Oh, but a big young man shouldn't get scared. I told the beast inside they will bring your mother back as soon as she has finished. But we have to find your father. If he doesn't come, they won't let her go. If Dad calls you, tell him so, okay? He stroked my face with his hand. The smell of cigarettes smudged my skin. I looked through the door. Mom was crying secretly. Someone put a black bag over her head. 2 lifted her up, grabbing her under her armpits. That man was the last to leave the house. He pressed his cigarette on the wall and threw it on the floor. Auntie Seven came and took me away. When she held and raised me, I noticed. My pajama was wet, but I didn't want to pee. When did I do this? I thought. Auntie Seven took me to the hospital many times. Once she laid me on the bench. I heard her thanking in a whisper to the woman sitting next to her. She said I couldn't walk. Ah, this child doesn't talk either. No, it's not an accident. It happened all of a sudden. Neither his nor his father are around. They didn't die. They went to Germany to work. Yes, they couldn't take him with them. I hope so. I hope so. God heals all. Brother Sinihi returned to the neighborhood. His Ford also returned. How amazing. How anything can happen in life. He picked me up and took me to his car. He laid me on the back seat. He folded the blanket and put it under my head. He sat at the steering wheel. He asked, "Where would you like to go?" "Brother Sinihi," I said. "Would Mom and Dad come back?" "They will," he said. "You see, even I came back. All that goes away. Comes back someday." The yellow cat and her 2 kittens jumped on the hood of the Ford. They looked at us a little bit and licked each other. Brother Sinihi put the car in gear. I shut my eyes. A flock of swallows flew over us.